quick. Like and subscribe in the next 4 seconds if you want good luck every day this week.
They've won, because we know these guys are in first. They've won 3 games, and if I'm not correct, so far that is the most of any region right now. So out of any single region, these guys have won by far by the most. So 3 victory rounds, extremely impressive.
They get the limbs, but Monster, what did CLIX just do?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the Fortnite Champions Series. It's your boy Zeke. We're getting ready to kick off the competition here in NA East. Here on your screen, you can see an overall prize breakdown of the competition coming out of finals. So we'll see this prize money coming out a month from now. So make sure you stay tuned and follow the action the entire way
Fortnite
through.
World game number 1 of 6 is about to go down here. Who will get one step closer to the big share of the $690,000 here on the NA East region? Aussie Antics, we will find out here shortly as everyone is hopping off and take a look. We know where most of these teams are already landing. We know where most of these battles might already occur. And again, that Hydro Dam 16, the Slurpy Swamps, Sweaty Sands, there's so many big names and contestants that will be unfolding throughout the map, but it's a matter of who can be the best today.
Those tags, now we get sights on one of the most popular teams coming into this one, one that has a lot of pressure on them. CLIX, Booger, and Bizzle recently forming in a lot of questions around how they would perform, but they really are proving people wrong at the moment who doubted them as a team with their chemistry. 3 phenomenal names on paper, but people kind of questioning how well they'd work together. So far in this FNCS, especially this week, really, really well.
Yeah, it's almost like looking at three alpha leaders trying to follow one person. Like, who is really going to take the reins here? Who's going to lead this team when you have 3 dominant players in Booga, in Bizzle, in CLIX, all of which have their own decorated histories? You know, again, this is a star-studded team. I don't think we've ever seen one of this caliber, of this nature, form and band together and find this much success. I'd say the closest we'd probably have is their counterparts to EU, right? The MMB trio. And even then, this is still a different caliber of Booga, CLIX, and Bizzle, because in recent times, all 3 of these guys have been shining as individual players.
Yeah, they have. And like you said, it's big personalities too. That's what always concerns you. Who's going to listen to who? But the way they've divvied up seems really, really smart. It looks like Bizzle's kind of lent into that early and mid-game IGL, or in-game leader as we like to call it, who decides where they're going to set up, where they're going to rotate, how they're going to get their Storm Surge tags. And then seeing CLIX move into a role that not a lot of people expected. He's actually taken on more of a tarping and leadership role when it comes to endgame. We talk about tarps, it's just the player that builds those big structures that get you to zone. When you've got 60 people on top of you in such a small area, someone has to keep you protected and decide which way you're going to go. And usually CLIX being known as one of the best fraggers or the best player at getting eliminations with those just incredible mechanics. But him leaning into that role has been so fantastic to watch. It's like he's had like a new life, especially in team game modes, because that's where CLIX has struggled a bit. FNCS Grand Finals, team game modes is where CLIX really needs to prove that he's still got it. And I think with the way they've shifted this team, I think they can do just that. And obviously Vivid does too. He picked him as their prediction to win.
Yeah, no doubt. And you think about what Booga was filling as far as roles before. Booga was the one who was lead tarping, right? He had to be IGL, but also he wanted to be looking for those frags, and that was where he was having a problem. He didn't want to be the IGL for his team. So again, CLIX stepping up to that role, Booga falling back into that primary fragger really allows him to hyper focus. And if he has to, he knows how to keep up mechanically just as good as CLIX. So it really is a power dynamic of a trio. Here, though, the drone shot showing you guys all the big boys on the scene right now. There is no safe place in sight, especially with how many how many of these squads are holding a pillar right on the Coliseum? Like every single which way you can see out in the distance is being watched like a hawk's right here from C9's Nos. Jam for Paper on the other side. You have Voyu, Rokane. You have Kalkin, Sebi's team watching that other corner. Like no one is safe here on the desert.
No one's safe around the desert, and you hear those sniper shots ring out. It's one of the main things you carry in the inventory. With the removal of most mobility that you can carry, it's really, you know, it's either triple meds, an assault rifle, and a shotgun, or usually it's assault rifle, shotgun, sniper, or maybe harpoon. It doesn't give you a lot of options, which means a lot of people do have those snipers in the back pocket, as we see a bit of a beam there on, I believe that may have been Macwood's team that was rotating. But I talk about lack of carryable mobility, but this part of the map, you have two main ways to get around right now. You can use those 0-point rocks that you break around, use them, and then you get that kind of dashing mobility boost, or go into the sand and see if you can tunnel your way in, which normally in a normal game feels a lot safer. But with this many eyes on you, you've really got to be careful, as it was Macwood's team that moved. Kanata, Bucky, and Macwood, my picks here to win today, a little bit spread out, which isn't super unusual with this one, but the way they've set up, they must already have a decent amount of storm surge, because they don't have a lot of sight lines down here, but that can also be a positive. Less people can see them.
Yeah, definitely. And Macwood got sniped there by C9's Nosh. So let's see what Nosh can do here, as he's already got 2 eliminations himself. Sniper in hand, players in distance here. They have to make a move. You talked about using that desert. Nope, they're not going to use the sand dunes that auto-rotate here. Instead, they're going to use the 0-point crystals to go ahead and get going. It's Npenzunis and company who are on the move. That's Aspect in the back there trying to figure things out, and he's going to go and dash up behind the house. That means they're desperate to refarm some material. Anything that they can pick up, go ahead and reset and keep themselves comfortable. They're looking to grab at this moment.
Yeah, they got to try and get some area here. Npenzunis and Aspect have been performing so well coming into this one, so I'm excited to see how they go. You've got, you know, you got a veteran in there. It's so crazy when it comes to NA East. There's just those big names that just have been around for so long. We talked about how Viv is now on the analyst desk since the skirmish days. He's been playing against Aspect for just that long as well, still performing. Reverse 2K World Cup qualifier back, our FNCS returning champions with Miro and Day, a team that shocked a lot of people to actually split after last FNCS Monster, but they're back together and they've been looking really good, and that is a scary loadout in the hands of Miro. I think we answered who's going to be going Hydro Dam.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that the way the competitive season is going to break out this time around. If they win again, if they qual or place top 3 again after the finals, they do get to continue their reign into the next FNCS. You basically get a free pass. So they figured, hey, why not just go back for the 2-peat here and see what they can do? And I mean, they have the skill to do it, right? The scrims prove it. The fact that they can continue to qualify for these stages, these late stages in the games, also prove it, right? Look at how many teams did not make it this far, and they got in comfortably. It wasn't a team that struggled, right, or had a rough time per se. They've got a strategy, and they've continued to pull through. The season hasn't changed that much since the last time they were here.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest issue they were having was their drop spot. They were trying to go Salty Towers into Npenzunis, an Aspect that wasn't working. The way the FNCS works as well, same thing. Night before they've seen, wait, Zate's team hasn't qualified. Let's go Hydro Dam. And they are one of the scariest teams. If they say they're going somewhere, I doubt other people are looking to go there, as Jack, Acorn, and Slacks beautifully use those 0 points I was talking about earlier. They each pop one. They get to dart into zone. It's so much harder to hit an opponent when they're jumping around that fast. The biggest risk, though, which you saw them counter perfectly, is when you go to use it, there's that like half a second it takes to activate. You are so vulnerable to any amount of beam or headshot snipe potentially, so boxing up on those and using them for later rotates, just showing why they're some of the best.
Yeah, for sure. Now polarized. They're looking around. Also, a couple elims on this team. They're going to be A-OK for anything that's going to go down. Ronaldo's going to fall in the feed there to AJ. BBG AJ, who we just saw just a little bit ago. And there goes that storm surge warning that I was trying to prep us up for. We knew that it was going to happen. We knew that the opening instances were going to be a bit of a war of sorts. And it was just that. We were down to 70 players after the first zone close. That is not something we see very often. That is not a traditional NA East-paced game. I mean, even OCE had more players than that. Like, remember, that first game we watched, we had no teams drop for over a minute and a half in the first instances. NA East is already ready. They're primed for the setting right now. In game 1, they don't need warm-ups. They don't even need introductions. They know who's in front of them.
Yeah, they know each other. This is one of the best practice scenes in the world. They scrim against each other day after day using custom matchmaking, and man, their games are phenomenal. So they know how to play these ones. But again, some of those players they're used to playing haven't made it in. So there's kind of a few spanners in the works, and they need to step up and control something. Mac with a team that's been doing phenomenally well, not looking too great right now, dropping back into this full-built hard mats. When we talk about hard mats, brick and metal, because they're just so much harder to break. And luckily, they had this base on the low ground to kind of retreat back into, and luckily they have more than enough meds to heal this one out, as zone doesn't look like it's going to be too difficult for them, as looks like Lupin's going to get the pick up there as well. But this is where NA East does it best, Monster. The lobby's cleared out a little bit now as people trying to claim their drops, but this is where they show their prowess, how good they are at rotating, how good they are at positioning. I'd be surprised to see many people go down now, except for Storm Surge, and I believe that is on Jack, Acorn, and Slacks right now.
Yeah, huge Storm Surge down the other side of the wall. Sebi and Calculator as well. A Storm Surge team, a team under pressure, is the scariest team to have nearby to you because they have to jump in your box. They have to fight you if they don't have a ridiculous amount of heals to sustain the zone. And it doesn't look like Jack, Acorn, and Slacks had that because they were already inching their way closer to the enemies nearby. Nos, Jamper, and Paper do have that first half in, half out zone, and they also have it on top of the Coliseum. Don't forget the Coliseum is an indestructible structure, right? So they are very much based up here. And the amount of extra material they get to save just because of the natural height they were given off the rip here is beautiful for them right now coming in. And look, Jack is still under pressure. Acorn's already out the lobby.
Yeah, and Blake and Oka's looking pretty worse for wear as well. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks, I think they tried to out-heal this Storm Surge because there you go, it now goes passive. As you can see in the top left, 50 players alive. That is the threshold it had to get to. I think Jack, Acorn, and Slacks thought they could out-heal it, but unfortunately they fell short. NA East showing why they are some of the best in these stack lobbies. They pushed those Storm Surge numbers up so high, and now we have Paper, Nosh, and Jamper on the high ground. What can they do to control this? We did see the RPG in the lobby, but we also don't know how that's going to play into this endgame now, if they can do something with it to take the high ground, because they are established. You talked about it, Monster. They're on an indestructible structure. There's not many things in Fortnite you can't break. The Coliseum is one of them, but just like that, they get an opposite first rotating zone. 6th zone pulls all the way opposite, straight towards the northern coastline. So they have to decide now, do we tarp this whole zone? Do we build a layer all the way across the sky, or do we hit a bounce pad? Do we drop down? How do we get to the next zone? If they got given that zone, they were going to be sitting pretty, and yes, it is a bounce pad, but can they reestablish it later maybe?
Yeah, they don't want to miss the boat. They're gone. They're trying to rotate nice and early. Oh my gosh, double fried out the air there. Bizzle, Booga, and CLIX are hitting every single shot. They are on fire already. You know, Jamper and crew look like they had an easy pass here. Normally, when you get half in, half out, you are good to go, but not when you have players like CLIX, Booga, and Bizzle on the other side, hitting every single shot. And CLIX is going to continue the narrative here. And that was on to Zuni's. And now he's got, look at this free reign here, the angles. It's looking so good for CLIX right now.
So much damage, and CLIX going up onto his natural spot on the ultimate high ground. He's been doing this for this team for a very long time. CLIX and Bizzle, obviously no strangers to playing together. Booga, the new addition, but man, did they have their roles well. We have Bizzle on the front side, keeping this top healthy, keeping them in zone, and CLIX doing what CLIX does best. On the high ground, I talked about it earlier in the game, he usually plays kind of the Tarper role. When it's height, he is the ultimate height player. He plays for those big AR beams right now and make sure that if someone comes up, they're not getting on top of them because they want to hold this height. They want to go for that big victory royale when they already have 4 eliminations on the board, Monster. That's 8 points in this format.
Yeah, and CLIX just does a great job there. Splits his loot there, dropping it down to Booga. So Booga's got everything that he needs to work with. Pepper's in hand for most of these players as well. They are literally coasting their way through this endgame. No worry about the surge here. While everyone else has so much to worry about down low, they have infinite amounts of pressure here on this high ground game. This is their game to win now. Game number 1 of 6. One step closer for Booga, Bizzle, and CLIX. If they can continue to just put this pressure down, walk their way through, 4 elims already is not too shabby, especially considering the way the points are distributed now. Yes, placements are high, but elims matter so much more as well. They stack you up. They put you in comfortable positions.
The only thing I'm scared about there, we got it from that beautiful 3-way perspective of all their loadouts. I only saw 1 flopper, Monster. We've seen how many of these games go to heal off. They don't have that heal off potential. So they can still pull it off, but they need to do something big. When it comes to this end game, when you get to those final closeout 9th zone, they need to drop down and make something big happen because this team has way too much experience. They know that if they can't win the heal off, they're playing for second, and no team wants to play for second. So they're going to start working their way down. The zone's pulling across. It's not going back through old builds. build, so it's going to draw this lobby out a little bit more. There's less places to hide. They're just going to keep going through those mats and the utility they have. But Jamper taking some big damage on the low ground, and Jamper, Paper, and Nosh have so many eliminations on the board. 9. Can they make it 10? No, they fall, but it's still a great game. Not too much placement, but a lot of eliminations.
And wow, that was all to the hands of Trick by himself. A full team wipe. Gotta give him credits for that one as he jumps in the box, that tree, blocking all line of sits. Bully makes a top 10 there. So from his drop spot all the way to the end game here, not bad for him. That's a top 10 positioning there. Now, as we get closer and closer, look at CLIX lighting up the feed here. 2 more eliminations already swinging to CLIX. That is from that high ground pressure. That is from the angles he's looking for on this top rope here. But now, they're trying to figure this out. How are they going to win this game? What's their win condition? I think they give CLIX, yes, CLIX drops everything that he has for heals, and he's looking to work his way down low. He's already on fire. He's already feeling himself here.
Yeah, that's the thing I talked about. They didn't have the heal-off potential. CLIX has to work his way down now, but CLIX does this well. He knows how to box fight. He's going to drop down the layers, see if he can get even more eliminations, because I touched on it. They don't have the heal-off potential, and I guarantee a team down here does. They've made top 3. This is where the big placement points come in, but second and first would be such a nice buffer as well. He's trying to build forward, trying to claim as many of those cones and floors as he can to make his way in, and we've got AJ down there. We've got Vix. We've got some teams that aren't used to being in the end games as much. CLIX Bizzle going back up now, and CLIX seeing what he can do on the low ground, dealing some damage. ADV comes up. PD Plague is going up. He's going to try and playground Bizzle. He's going to go for the high ground, but Booger's right there to back him back up, and they take it. They take game 1 win with 8 eliminations on CLIX. 8 alone. I think that was 12 total and the win, Monster.
Yeah, that was a 12 elimination game, and CLIX is a specialist when it comes down to 1v1, a specialist for the box fights, and he handled that well, handled that accordingly. All the backup as well from Bizzle, right, to come in as well, just in time as Booger was holding that high ground. But for the most part, on average, you need about 4 really good games, really solid games, high-end in placements, and elims to go along the way, and you can still do it. So it's a bit early to tell how things are going to unfold. I mean, CLIX and Booger is showing just that. They have the best kind of game 1 you can ask for. High eliminations, setting records alongside others for multiple high elim games in the same lobby at these stages. But also now, game 2 is a completely different script, right? You lose Bizzle early on. You lose him so early on, and now CLIX and Booger have the biggest task in front of them. It's staying alive in this lobby of what looks like savages everywhere, right? Everyone's getting so active.
Yeah, they're down pretty low on the builds as well. So they were low down on the Storm Surge. They're low on the builds. They've got good meds. So if they get maybe a good refresh, you've got a lot of firepower in this duo, and they're going to use these stand rotates, playing it smart, trying to go around the edges. They were 205 below the Storm Surge. So they need to get in and then start doing some damage. So things are not looking good for our first place team, but they have what they need as far as firepower to make it work. Such a smart rotate there with the stand to get front side. Now that they're there, now they don't have to focus on rotating. Now's when they look to pick up their impact elimination. What's going to refresh their mats and what's going to get them the Storm Surge? How are they going to find it?
And listen, I see on high ground is Macwood, Kanata, and Bucky. They had a decent game 1, but they fell in 11th place with 2 eliminations. They needed just a little bit more for a top 10, and now that they have the high ground, wait a second, they had the high ground. They're now fighting against Blake and Ronaldo. We're literally looking to give them some trouble for the runs here, but no, Kanata holds it down. Defense is good enough. He walks into the zone for this one, doesn't miss the shot, needs it. And actually, the Siphon isn't going to go ahead and keep him alive for much longer. Ooh. Yes, he stays alive, just barely 5 HP. But hey, 5 HP is more than enough now to get splashed up and back with his squad mates here. And they're back to run this game.
They're back up. They're looking healthy. This is my pick. This is why I picked them. They run the high ground once they take it. Only 3 eliminations on the board. Zone going back, so they get to push back up onto this established height, which they kind of needed because Kanata only has 4 builds, and he's having fun with it. He's got a skin that isn't very well known for being a competitive skin. Usually isn't the go-to. Guff's a little bit on the thicker side, but he's looking good on the high ground. Potentially has the wings to try and save himself if something goes wrong here. But either way, as a team, they're looking fantastic, but I don't know how the builds look on Macwood and Bucky. They maybe expended a little bit too much to get this position. Can they now hold it?
Yeah, we will find out. In the complete opposite story, a team that we know for a fact doesn't have much to work with is Booger and CLIX. Booger's going to make the wrong edit. Dragon's Breath is going to delete him, eat him up for breakfast there, and he is gone. CLIX now has to dig into the floppers that he very barely has here. It's going to give him a couple more moments, and no, the fire's even worse. He can't walk that way. That'll be too much HP, too much damage. Yeah, look. Oh, the zone does come back. Little RNG blessed on his side. It's going to work out. He is out of material, though. What can CLIX do here? 11th place now. Top 10. Huge. Every team that falls is going to get him one step closer to earning more placement points. One step closer to holding that first place spot that they already have. Remember, Macwood on high ground, they were in 11th coming into this. So also, this is a team that is very much looking to break into top 5 as well. Jockey up for those high placing positions.
Yeah, and CLIX has got to have eyes on that top 3 where the placement points really come out. He needs a bit of a refresh to make it happen. Found a nice little base here. The zones have been pretty favorable to CLIX right now, but they needed something to go their way in this one. Ronaldo falls down. I saw Kanata getting some eliminations on high ground. CLIX is hiding behind the wood cone. Zone's going to push him forward. He has to go into their top. Oh no, he's going to go at the top. It's going to be difficult. Has the cone to jump off. Right now, pretty much CLIX is almost doing this like a death run. 139, he gets in and he gets the elimination that he needed. Refreshes the mats. He's got 29 builds. He's just survived an entire rotating zone on 0. What can he do now that he has the 19 builds? CLIX is showing that he is still one of the best in the world and has the best ability to clutch. Macwood and Bucky are up there, but Bully's going up and contesting. I don't see Kanata. I see Furious Calc and Sebi down below, but CLIX is doing so much here.
Yeah, Kanata's already down. He fell to Cold. Cold, who CLIX just took out, who is also a solo there as well. Now, with one elimination, no teammates. He is playing the storm line so perfectly here. Out of materials again, the siphon mats, not enough. And look at the movement. He's so good. Sebi's down. He will be able to get it. Young Calc is down as well. The double siphon, and there it is. That's 4 eliminations now. Floppers in hand. What are you doing, CLIX? Holding that first place spot. Oh my gosh, RPG.
Are you serious? He has the rockets. He's going up now. He's dropping down. Wow. What can he do to work his way? Top down only has 20 health. He's 2 ticks to the storm. He's already done enough. He got top 3. He has 4 eliminations, but can he do more? No, he can't. But honestly, that was more than enough as Macwood tries to close this one out. It is a 1v2. He's on the high ground. I don't know if he has the heals. Aviv doesn't have the heals. Macwood, Kanata, and Bucky managed to win it, but they managed to steal the show. CLIX steals everything from them. They get the win. They get the elims, but Monster, what did CLIX just do?
Yeah, it's the first game that they finally made it out of their drop spot. Might just get W keys by Booga, CLIX, and Bizzle. They might have to, right? Honestly, and that would be a sad, sad story for Threats, Dukes, and chat.
It would be a sad, sad story. Vivid talked about in the pre-show, when you finally get your games out of your drop spot, you have to make them count. If you're contested on spawn, you don't have any games to throw away in the mid game. You've got to play it perfectly. As we get sights on our second place team, Macwood, Kanata, and Bucky in a nice little base, extended off from everybody else, running against some interesting skin choices. We saw Guff last game. Looks like we've got we got Peely in here as well, wearing the suit, dressed to impress on the big day. We've got the popcorn skin in there. I mean, I'm loving it.
Yeah, these guys are vibing out right now, trying to have a good time, and they're on track, right, to qualify here. Top 10 is all that's needed. That's all that's needed. First place is about as equal to top 10, honestly, in this stage in the game. But again, it's about the bragging rights. It's about feeling comfortable, putting that pressure and dominating down. Here comes some shots in from players trying to tag them, but no, only one hit, and that's on to Macwood. They get in all the way for free.
Wow.
At the cost of what? 100 material, if not that, and now they get to crank up. They're going to own high ground again. For a second game in a row now. That is massive.
That is a missed opportunity by any team like Zypher, Twexy, and Nutter. Any player that was nearer to this one to go for the high ground. We see Jamper, Paper, and Nosh building up for it as well, but a lot of people are going to call luck on that one, or the zone goes down river. But no, that is not luck at all. Kanata, Macwood, and Bucky, that is just their expertise. They saw it. That's why they instantly left the base. There is not a coincidence they set up on the edge of the river, knowing that that was going to just give them a free highway pass straight into the next zone if it pulled opposite.
Yeah, that's all strategy right there coming into play. Well played as well. And again, you think about it, right, like a little bit further. There was no time to wait there. You had to jump the gun before everyone else realized what was happening, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't waste a single beat there on the zone. It popped, and they were gone to the new storm line. Okay, it gets them here. It gets them this far. Jamper, Nosh, and Paper were in high ground before. They were beasted out of the sky by CLIX BANNED and Booga in game number 1. How can they use this advantage again? Because, you know, it's not very often that you see a team with high ground lose it so early the way they did before. And it was just off of the backs of one bad rotate. And it seems like it's happening again. Jamper tries to save himself, and it all just somehow works out. It was messy. It was sloppy, but it was a save nonetheless. And Nosh is already down, though, and Paper seems like he's going to follow suit. There he is. He's gone.
They get pressured out there. What you saw there was Jamper trying to build across. He was trying to connect the high ground, trying to build it onto Knifer, Spade, and Accept. They saw it coming. They didn't panic. They didn't try to build up against it. Wait, this whole thing's getting dropped out. This is all held up by so little. Knifer, Spade, and Accept have realized they're dropping down onto the front side. No, they're going to be able to reinforce and hold it. I was going to say, you could see the supreme confidence and experience and skill of a team like Knifer. They didn't try to build against him. They chose to spray him out, because if they build up, that would have only made it easier for them to anchor. And now they have the front side. They're on the front side on moving zones with 17 teams alive in a beautiful position. They have good materials too, but there it is. Kanata, Macwood, and Bucky were lurking. Kanata goes up for it. He gets held off. He's trying to burst 2 players, and he does. He outbuilds them. Kanata, one of the best build fighters in the game, and unfortunately, Knifer gets bullied off and has to drop down. It's your second place team. My prediction on the high ground running the show.
Yeah, once again, and that was an expert job by Kanata to go in and crank up while his teammates backed up with the firing range. They're making it nice and simple for him. There's no way he's going to get beat in that situation. He put himself in the prime time position to go in and take this high ground. They don't have the medium bullets to go out and sustain this, but with the harpoon in Bucky's hands, they should be able to find themselves a refresher. They just have to be super focused, hyper focused on the loot down below. Pick something up, and if they can get the AR ammo, they are virtually guaranteed a free win again. The last game was sloppy though. Kanata went down way early to cold because he jumped down a little too soon and lost his fights down low. Macwood barely squeezed away the win. Don't forget it. Bucky's gonna give us a bit of a show on high. He's showing off. Wait a second now. Oh my gosh. The flashiness.
We're having a bit of fun with it. Interesting strategy there as well. I mean, this just shows supreme confidence in this team, but some might unfortunately come back to bite him there. Gets knocked out, catches himself with the bounce pad. They have the high ground. They're just showing the lobby, we don't need this. Not only do we not need to qualify today, we'll do it in future weeks if we don't do it today. We don't even need to try for it. We're just that much better than you guys. They're trying to set a statement. It reminds me of the Zayt taking the L in the open. A little bit of a different style, almost a lot more risk, but they still managed to pull it off. They have the high ground, and they're potentially maybe going to close this one out.
Yeah, Bucky's straight trolling. He's hitting the dance move every opportunity he gets. There he is. He's dancing. All the boys are putting in that good work on the left and rights of him. And now, the more this firing comes in, the more they're keen to jump on down and get active. Macwood hasn't dropped his guard at all, though. He says, Bucky, you can do all the joking around that you want, but I'm here to play. And there, you can see the corn skin pops. That means we are in those final zones right here. We're in these endgame instances. He's ready for all the action.
He's putting out some damage right now. He's putting out the fire. Things are cooking up right now. They've got the high ground. There is fire. They need to watch out, though. They're running low on the builds, and it is CLIX, Booger, and Bizzle come up and take the high ground off them. They were messing around. They were having too much fun. They said, hey, if you guys don't want to win this entire tournament, sweet, we will. Macwood, Kanata, Bucky fall there. CLIX, your first place team on the high ground. Our first team to break through our triple-digit points. They have pretty much guaranteed qualification with this game now halfway into the tournament. Do you think they can get 2 wins out of 3, Monster?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We've seen it happen on OCE. The first place team took 2. These guys are on track to do the same here. 4 elims already, high ground hold. Just enough mass to go and connect through these old builds, and fish once again in Booga's hand. There goes the exchange of hands on the chug splashes too. So this is all but said and done. Just sign the dotted line at this point. On the low ground though, Young Calc trying to redeem himself for the fall that he took in the last round of CLIX. But Young Calc and crew, I am so surprised to see Furious and Sebi popping off right now. CLIX is gonna fall there. That is Furious bouncing back. He's clapping back for getting clipped in a previous round too. Okay, bit of a rivalry here now.
And they've given all the meds to Booger. Bizzle going to try and do something here. Maybe try to create some pressure. Obviously, Booger being known as the one to drop down, but he has higher white health right now. He has the advantage, and every tick is going to matter. But I don't think they're going to be able to beat this one unless they can come up and find Booger. That's who they need to find. No one else matters. It's Booger who has all the heals to try and heal this one off as zone closes out. And who's going to be able to do it? Where is Booger in all of this? He's pushed right back into the builds. They are never finding him. Furious is looking. Sebi is looking. They're trying to break into this one. Furious goes down. Sebi surely will follow. He has the splashes, but he doesn't have what Booger has. Booger had the floppers and the splashes. 2-1. That is it. CLIX, Booger, and Bizzle managed to pick up 2 wins out of 3 and guarantee qualification.
Yeah, definitely in a smooth fashion as well. But hey, listen, shout out to, like we said, Calculator, Furious, and
because we know these guys are in first. They've won 3 games. CLIX, Google. Google combining the names of Bugha and Bizzle. We nearly managed all day to not combine all of their names, but 208 points. And if I'm not correct, so far that is the most of any region right now. So out of any single region, these guys have won by far by the most. So 3 victory royales, extremely impressive.
Yeah, what a day from CLIX, Bugha, and Bizzle.